Okay, this is video number 3 for Set 1 and Set 3. Okay, I'm combining your vocabulary and grammar sections because I need to have an idea of where y'all are standing with your grammar and vocabulary. And this is a good exercise for it's just general knowledge in terms of English. A lot of people struggle with the two topics that we'll be discussing today. Okay, so for vocabulary, commonly confused words, what I want you to do for this section is not look at the dictionary, answer the questions. Okay, so I want to test your knowledge as it is now. And I want you to test yourself as well. Okay, it's good for you to know whether you know these things or not. So don't use the dictionary yet. Try to answer the 10 questions that you are given for vocabulary, and then after you've answered, you may look in the dictionary, check out the meanings, write them down if you have to. Okay, take note of them and remember these things, because these are mistakes that will, if you don't fix them now, it will be carried with you into adulthood, and people make these mistakes all the time. It's just not that great. It's just good to know the differences between these words. Okay, so after you've done the exercise, go ahead and look them up in the dictionary, write down the meanings, but don't change your answers. Okay, because I need to see where you were at first before you looked up the dictionary. Understand? Okay, and then moving on to part 3, grammar. I do have a set of notes for you that you will find in your class assignment as well for this week. So if you open your notes, you will first come to see that we are talking about run-on sentences. Run-on sentences are sentences that contain too many ideas without proper punctuation. So a lot of times people would just go on and on and on. A lot of times you all tend to do that as well in your answers or in your essays. You have a sentence that has multiple ideas, multiple complete thoughts that are only separated by either a comma or no punctuation at all. Okay, now just a brief overview, a reminder of what a sentence is. Each sentence, components of a sentence, each sentence has 3 necessary components. You have to have a subject. Okay, so what is the subject about? It's usually the person or the thing that is carrying out the action, right? So if I am talking, I am the subject, correct? The bird is singing, so the bird is the subject. Yeah, and then the action would be the singing or the talking. Okay, so what the subject is doing, and then you have the complete thought, which is what is the purpose of the sentence. So when I tell you that the bird is singing, it's informing you that the bird is singing. Okay, if I just say the bird, that's just a subject, right? It's an incomplete sentence. You can call it a phrase, or it could be a dependent clause in some cases. Okay, if I say yesterday morning, okay, yesterday morning what? That's a dependent clause as well. Yesterday morning I woke up to find that the bird was singing. So yesterday morning is just a dependent clause. The subject in this sentence is I woke up to find the bird is the object in this sentence, and he was singing. Okay, so then in that part of the sentence, the bird was singing, the bird becomes the subject. Alright, so if you look through, there was an example here of the subject and the action and the complete thought. Read through that, it's good for you all to know. And then we come to the part that talks about a run-on sentence. Okay, so if I say today is a beautiful day, the bird is singing, and I don't punctuate that sentence with anything, that would be a run-on sentence. Okay, because there's no punctuation at all. If I believe I've talked to you all about comma splices before, if I put a comma where a full stop should be, if I say today is a beautiful day, comma, the birds are singing, that is also a run-on sentence, and you call that a comma splice. Okay, so when the comma takes the place of a full stop, that makes it a comma splice. And then the last one is a polysyndeton. I don't even know how to pronounce that, but it refers to multiple conjunctions in a sentence. So yesterday morning I woke up to find that the bird was singing and bees were buzzing and the flies were congregating around a smelly pile of rubbish, and I didn't know what to do, so notice that I haven't stopped at all. Okay, so that would be that kind of sentence. Okay, the polysyndeton sentence. It's also a run-on sentence. After a certain time, when it comes to writing, it's important to pace yourself. Okay, so if it's necessary for you to have a long sentence because you have a lot of things to say, like I'm doing right now, this is a long sentence where I have a lot of things to say and it's okay, then you can do that. Sorry, I had to wait for the ambulance to pass. Back to what I was saying. So if it's completely necessary for you to have a long sentence, in which case you know how to punctuate it properly, you put the commas in the right places, then by all means go ahead. Okay, but for the most part, it's always better for you to just end your sentence, especially if it gets very long, end your sentence and then start a new sentence over again. Okay, you will find in your notes that it tells you that a comma splice can be fixed with a semicolon. Okay, this is true. A semicolon acts the same way that a full stop does. It combines two separate thoughts. Okay, so if you have a semicolon or to take a place of a full stop, is correct. However, it's only used in situations where you really want to make sure that the two ideas are firmly connected to each other. Okay, so most of the time, especially with your work, I highly recommend that you all use full stops instead. Okay, once again, unless it's entirely necessary for your two ideas to be stuck together, in which case you use a semicolon. In other cases, just use a full stop. Today is a beautiful day, full stop, the birds are singing, and you can continue on and on and on. Okay, otherwise your work is just going to be full of semicolons everywhere. So use semicolons very sparingly. Okay, if that makes sense. Alright, so just moving on to your assignment from here, what's going on here is that I've given you a whole bunch of run-on sentences and your job is to fix them. Okay, so I think it's 10 questions. Yeah, dependent clauses, separate ideas, you need to put the commas and the full stops in the right places. Most of them, I believe, are just commas and full stops. I think there are 1 or 2 question marks in there. Okay, so make sure if it's a question, know where to put the question mark and then continue on to the next sentence. And I think that's it. Now, the important thing that I need to remind you all about typing, even in your conversations or comments, okay, make sure that you all make it a habit to practice using proper punctuation, and in this case for your exercise, make sure that you do it right as well. Okay, so if you end a sentence with a full stop, make sure you start again with a capital letter, and after every full stop, make sure to enter a space bar. Okay, so full stop, space, capital letter, always that way. Full stop, space, capital letter. Full stop, space, capital letter. Okay? Don't give me full stop, no space, small letter. Understand? Okay, so okay, let's go back to the previous example I gave you as an example for your exercise. Okay, so yesterday morning, comma, I woke up to find that the birds were singing, comma, the bees were buzzing, comma, and the flies were buzzing around a smelly pile of rubbish, full stop. Okay, can? So that is your homework for grammar. Have fun with it, and if you're not sure, try. I don't see any empty blanks. Okay, and yeah, I will see you all next time. Bye bye.